Also, if you need a spotter in the gym, you're doing it wrong, and that's going to be you. That's been me almost without a spotter. So if you need weights, or if you're going heavy enough to need a spotter, you should have the hospital on speed dial. You're done. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this part of the video, this Q&A. We got a few questions here. Happy Tuesday morning. It's nice and snowy and sunny out here in Denver, and I feel great. I'm taking today off the gym. The last couple days were pull day with overhead press and deadlifts. Yesterday was legs, which is crazy for my knee in a good way. Good for me, it's progress. And then today, I could have gone and benched an overhead press, but my lower back has nothing left and my legs are tired, and I'm not Ronnie Coleman. I mean, what other there's so many excuses and good reasons why I definitely shouldn't train. It's a marathon, not a sprint. With that said, let's go ahead and answer this question right here. Bolt, and thank you very much for everyone who leaves good questions in general. I'm gonna start answering them. It's the word I'm looking for. Well, I'm gonna keep doing what I think is beneficial for everyone. So keep commenting if you're enjoying it and you want some questions answered. So Bolt Jameson says, why don't you just train full body 3 times a week? Unless you just don't enjoy training full body. All right, so let me start over here and make sure this doesn't go on too long, this rant. So full body 3 times a week, I don't enjoy it. I don't think anyone interested in bodybuilding, aesthetics, physique goals enjoys that style of training. I think the only people that enjoy full body 3 times a week would be maybe Olympic lifters and maybe some athletes or some like ex-power lifters. So it's not a large demographic of people who would ever want to do that. Why would I not want to do that is because of my injuries. So if you're healthy and if you have a program designed to maintain your health, full body is safe and extremely effective. The problem is that I don't think most people have the ability to self-diagnose their own injuries, whether it's overuse, acute, chronic, more mental. People will struggle on a 3-day-a-week full body split all year round. I just think that it's extremely taxing. And obviously it's great if someone can program it for you, but if you just choose a 3-day-a-week program off the internet, which is good, you're gonna have to either make adjustments or never get hurt or always be perfect with your lifestyle. So I think that a full body session is extremely demanding in a sense that it involves many lifts to be performed under a good intensity and all executed well. So I just think it's less limiting if you have more days of training that are more split up. So 3 times a week, not enough training days, too dogmatic in a sense that you only have time in the gym to do what needs to be done, and I think that's a lot of pressure. If you're an athlete, if you're being coached, if you have a lot of experience, that's great. But if you have injuries, if you're into aesthetics, if you're into strength, then full body isn't necessary because you can build strength maximally and you can also focus on other muscle groups and focus on yourself by having an additional day or two where you can strategize for yourself. So just not very fun, very limiting, boring, and extremely demanding. Next question by Talibaniel. Are you currently on or do you have plans on going back on Celtech? Stay safe. A wild troll appears. Well, it's a good question, really stupid name. If it has anything to do with the Taliban, I don't really get the comedy there. It's 2019, so I don't know, maybe it's just over my head. How do I answer this? I don't want to talk about doing illegal things on the internet, but let's just say if we're speaking in terms of Celtech, I think that it's a good thing to use for everyone who's an adult who can manage it and who can be under the supervision of medical professionals. And that is something that I plan on doing very soon, is being under the supervision of medical professionals. That way I can be on Celtech and then I'll be able to answer your question in a legal manner, and I will stay safe, so thank you. And we got a long one here, Alex. I'll try to sum up and paraphrase it as I read it. I'm the guy asking for a spot. It may have been a good time to educate him on when it is appropriate to ask for a spot. Spotting a reckless lifter on things like a squat, I would argue, are almost always more dangerous for the spotter than the lifter. And this is exactly why I refuse to spot him. My friend Scott was just like, I was like, dude, I don't know if I can spot that kid. And Scott was like, oh, I'll go get him, don't worry. I just said yes out of being courtesy and get him away from me. And if I really went over there to spot him like he was expecting me, I would have just told him no. Respectfully, they should not feel okay with putting other people in that area of risk, especially if it's not their training partner who knows their needs. I do not feel safe spotting you on that exercise with the way I do the rest of myself. Cheers. Yeah, Alex, you're 100% right. So Alex is a gentleman and a smart person who definitely would know how to handle himself in that situation. Yeah, and that's exactly what I would have done. Scott really didn't care. I really care. So the problem is that it's very difficult to give people advice in the gym. The gym is a place where vanity, ego, insecurity, basically all of our, let's say all of our insecurities or all of our egotistical inclinations, they really can come to fruition in the gym. What he's doing in the gym, I would say, is normal for commercial gyms. What I do in the gym is abnormal. It doesn't really give me any satisfaction to try to help if I feel like the person won't help. And when you see someone, when you're doing full range of motion next to you, working their way up to 400 pounds when they have 12-inch calves and 20-inch legs and they weigh 150, it's just, they're too far gone to bring them back. Someone I may never see again. If I see them again, how about this? If I see this guy a second or third time, I'll definitely let him know. But it was my first day in a new gym. I was training with my friend and I was working on my physique. So whatever goes on in that gym is not my business. If I become a regular and I see the person, then it really is my business. So that's, I guess, my thoughts on that.
Breathe out, fold forward. Bend the knees deeply. Inhale, half lift. So connect with that earth element. And then inhale. Chest moves towards the sky. Press back. Just to move through chaturanga or skipping.
So tired, I'm like stuck on that. Slow down, Brett. Alright guys, so for the start of going over what we find here in starting strength, I'm just going to walk you through what this book is structured like, what information is contained inside it, and then what we're going to do talking about it, as I have just gone through and read the first section. Now this book clearly and explicitly states that you can't really copy or publish or even really use this sort of material. This is like a citable textbook. Went through the first section already, and it was very, very informative. So we're going to go over the contents here. And so when you open this book, you'll be quickly familiarized with it. And it'll be 5 barbell movements: squat, press, deadlift, bench, power clean. Honestly, that's not exactly what I expected. I expected to get more of a programming and understanding muscle growth type things. This is really just about how to perform the correct lifts. So I'm gonna get into what I learned in the first chapter, the squat. So I really just want to give credit to Mark Riptoe and I guess promote the book, because from what I've read so far, it's excellent. And without further ado, let's just get into the first chapter when we can learn from it. So is physical strength the most important thing in life? And that's quite a statement. As you guys know, there's many important aspects to life, but what can we quantify from that? It's the quality and quantity of your lifetime. So the quality, being strong during your lifetime, you're more resilient, harder to hurt, you have strength at an advanced age, which aids to the quality of your life, your physical ability to do things and perform the tasks you did when you were younger. And quantity, there's research that shows lower leg mass positively correlated to longer life expectancy in the elderly. So if you're above 65 years old, I believe, the more leg mass you have is positively correlated to how long you're going to live. So maintaining muscle into elderly age will improve your life. So it is one of the most important things in life. The most, it depends what you value. So how do you gain physical strength? That is done through exercise, which is what this book is all about, the 5 barbell exercises. So in this video, we're just going to cover the squat. And there's a couple key points in the squat that I've never really thought of, or at least thought of saying and maybe said out loud. So the most important thing to do a squat is balance. The first and last thing that matters is keeping the barbell vertical. And the reason we call this type of loading axial loading directly on the spine is because you're parallel with the force of gravity that's on the object. So the force of gravity goes perpendicular into the earth, and axial loading will do just that. So squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing, all vertical compression of the spine. The reason balance is so important is to keep that line vertical. So you work against gravity in one direction over the shortest distance possible. You do the least amount of work. You don't have horizontal losses in energy, movement, or anything like that, power. A statement this book kind of claims, there's a front squat and a low bar squat. And anything in between, like an Olympic bar placement, you're better off just doing a front squat. The low bar is going to give you the ideal strength and mechanics to have the bar behind you. And anything other than that should just be a front squat. So we'll just go with the low bar squat for now, something I don't personally do, but when I do reintroduce barbell squatting, I will consider these mechanics at least as far as bar placement. Take note that the bar placement is to lift maximum weight. It's not necessarily for your health. Vertical back angle is going to give you a more open hip angle. And this is going to basically make your knees go more forward and have a more closed angle. And that closed knee angle is going to shorten your hamstring. So basically the front squat, in a sense, removes the power that you gain from your hamstrings in the low bar. So in the low bar, you kind of lock in your hamstrings, you lock in your lower back, and you use that stored energy and those leverages to use all the muscles in your leg to push your hips up. In the front squat, you kind of remove the hamstrings, so you remove some of that stability. So you do get anterior kind of force from the quad more so in the front squat. So you will activate the quads more and possibly even the glutes more in the front squat because you remove the hamstrings. So it's totally different than a low bar, and it technically will allow you to build less muscle and it's less stable. So it's possible that it could be worked in as an assistance exercise, but as far as a main movement, you're removing the hamstrings greatly from a compound lift. So that's the big difference that is kind of obvious now when I think about it, but I never thought of before. If you basically draw a straight line in between your feet, you create 30-degree angles with each foot, and that's going to allow your knees and your thighs to track parallel with your toes, with knees out, with your hips open. And I'm not going to get into exactly how he describes all those things. If you guys are that interested, I definitely recommend the book 100%. I actually just bought it again today to send to my friend for his 30th birthday. That will cue your whole lower body, and the way to make sure that that maintains into the descent is to keep that barbell over the midfoot. So foot position, 30 degrees, and then everything in your lower body is parallel to that, and keep the back straight, which is something that's very lengthy to describe, and it happens to do with bracing, maintaining slight spinal extension, or keeping basically straight into the lower back and having thoracic extension. So it's definitely more complex than keeping your back straight as far as how you cue it. The ideal body position is to keep your chin like there's a tennis ball in between your chin and chest, and just look like 4 or 5 feet in front of you. So a lot of you are squatting in front of mirrors, looking up, looking down. You should just look 5 feet in front of you and keep a neutral neck. So something that I don't think a lot of people have really been told even. Another couple things I thought were interesting is once you address the barbell, Mark recommends not wrapping the bar and gripping it like with your wrist flare extended like that. He'd rather have the thumb over and the wrist straight, and then you can lift your elbows up so that you keep the barbell on top. Allow that hand to rest over it so you're not really supporting the barbell, and just kind of rest straight like that in line with your back. So that seems like something that I've never really tried myself. All right, so other than that, I just made a couple notes on some cues. Keep the bar vertical like you're sliding down a Smith machine bar, but don't ever use the Smith machine. Also, it's what he says in this book. Knees, feet, thighs parallel at 30 degrees. The Valsalva maneuver basically is the easiest way to explain bracing. Google it. It's when you breathe in and then you plug your glottis to where you can't like scream or do anything. You basically close your vocal cords, and that's the air pressure you maintain that you can flex against. So that's bracing. And lastly, never squat in front of a mirror. That's a tough one. Commercial gyms, man. Get big legs. And lastly, guys, I couldn't leave this out. Hip drive, another important cue. When you go to press out of the bottom, don't necessarily push into the ground with your feet. Don't push at the knees or with the quads. Just think about driving the hips up like you're being lifted by a chain from the pelvis. So pelvis just straight up, and then your body alignment will do the rest.